Does Alexander Volkanovski still have what it takes to be a champion? That is the question. What's up, guys? Laura Sanko here, and welcome to the UFC 314 main event preview. As always, I am joined by Dean Thomas. This time, he is at a white party.
Kind of. I got
Better
a
not
lot
be a
of
diddy
white going
party.
on in the background, you know what I'm saying? I got a lot of white going on in the background, so that's very fair to say. But before we get into my situation, I got to
Yeah.
give you your props. I got to give you your props because um, the, honestly, I didn't get to hear your commentary because I watched the fight from a hotel room in Mexico City. They
Oh,
don't have ESPN Plus in Mexico City, so I had to watch the Spanish broadcast of it.
uh-huh.
And but I read all the reports and everybody said you killed it.
Oh,
And
thank
everybody,
you.
yeah, everybody was saying that you killed it and that you was doing your thing. And everybody just spoke really highly of you. And it brought a tear to my eye. And I
Oh,
just wanted to give you your props so the world can know how great you are.
I appreciate that. You're gonna make me blush, Dean. I appreciate that. I think I've said this on here before. I intentionally make a point not to check Twitter because it's just something I just don't do anymore. So it's good to hear that people were receptive of it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you snapped apparently. Apparently, I don't know what you did, what you said, but you snapped. And I spoke with Anik because Anik rode on the plane with me, and Anik was just as happy as he could be to work with somebody that was as knowledgeable and could break
Aw,
things down. So, you know, you're doing a good job. So
thank you,
sometimes you
Dean.
don't get to hear that from your peers, and especially in our industry, right?
No, we are not big on that.
Yeah, in our industry, it's like,
A lot of
yeah,
side eye, like,
whatever,
mm.
whatever. I can't believe you took my job.
Yeah. Oh,
So
thank you.
no,
I appreciate that.
props to you for that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a good show. It was a good time, and luckily I dodged the diarrhea bullet that was taking everyone out. I was down there footloose, fancy free too, man. I was drinking the ice. I was having salads. I was just eating fresh fruit.
I knew I saw you in the bathroom licking the toilet seat. I was wondering what you was doing. I said,
You
"Yo,
know?
she gonna get diarrhea like this," but apparently you dodged it.
No, I think that the farm girl immunity kicked in, and I'm probably speaking on a turn. Probably next time I go down there, I'll get taken out. But yeah, luckily did not get hit with it this time. A lot of people did. A lot of people
Yeah,
did.
we
Poor
know this.
Joe. Poor Joe Piper.
Yeah,
I feel bad for him.
yeah. Spoke to him today about it. He said he's finally feeling better about to hit the gym. So
Yeah, I think it was really like hitting people not just for short term either, like long term, several days worth of. Ugh.
yeah,
Anyway, anyway, we got to talk about this card. We got to talk about UFC 314 because that is what we are here for. Uh, Guys, Diego Lopes versus Alexander Volkanovski for the soon to be vacant featherweight title. There's a lot to discuss here. There's a lot of really interesting storylines, Dean. As always, I will start off with a very vanilla question. Uh, is this, I guess, what are your thoughts on the fight? Was this the fight? Did this fight kind of come out of nowhere for you, or is this like, you know what, this makes sense?
no, this makes sense and it's very well deserved from both guys. I love when the dogs of MMA get rewarded.
Yeah.
I love when the real warriors, not the listen, there's a place for everybody in MMA. There's showmen, there's talkers, whatever. But when the real warriors get rewarded with an opportunity to be a world champion, it's what I love. It's what I love more than anything else. And the fact that Volkanovski, a true warrior, Diego Lopes, true warrior, their records, their resumes, everything they've done speaks for itself. And the fact that they're able to fight for this opportunity, I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
The real question that needs to be answered that we won't know, but we will find out Saturday is, does Volkanovski still have it?
That is the
That's the
question.
real,
That is the
that's the question
That's
in
literally
all
the
of
only
this.
question.
It's
Yes.
the only question is, does he still have it?
Yep. Because if he does,
He
I think
wins the fight.
he wins the fight. Yeah. I think you have to side I think you have to side with Volk in terms of if we're just gonna go out there and the question is who is the better MMA fighter, more experienced, more technical, it's Alex Volkanovski every day, right? The question is is he still that guy? Right? And that is such a big question, and it's so difficult to answer before you find out?
I normally like to come on these shows and do my homework and give a very bold statement.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing my homework, I don't have a bold statement like I normally would like to
Yeah.
have because I did so much homework on it. Because if I didn't do the work, like last week talking about this fight, I said, man, Volkanovski all day. Come on, man. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Volkanovski. Then I did the research and I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm not convinced that he still has it.
What made you
I'm
back
not.
off?
All right, so the Volkanovski to beat Yair Rodriguez, it wasn't that long ago.
I know.
It was like 2 years ago, not even. But that was a great Volkanovski. The Volkanovski to beat the Korean Zombie, great Volkanovski. Still
Mm-hmm.
not that long ago. But the one thing I do know about this sport, and we've seen it, and it's become more apparent as of recently, is that fighters, their run is not as long as we want it to be.
Yeah.
For they're great for a very short amount of time, which is why what John Jones has done is nothing short of remarkable. But he also paced himself in a way where it was like he can extend that run because he fought once a year.
Mhm.
Now, Volkanovski has been great in a concentrated amount of time, beating Aldo, beating Max, and just like he's been great. I just don't know if it still exists in him after his run and then after getting knocked out 2 times in a row. I don't think it exists anymore.
It's a it's a fascinating thing to try to think about, and I thought about you a lot today because I was also trying to answer that question as I was doing my homework, right? And you start looking at the film, and I watched the Yair fight first, and I was like, oh, exactly what you just said. This was not that long ago. He looked incredible. And while they are different stylistic tacticians, there are some comparisons to be made between Yair and Diego Lopes, right? There's a bit of a recklessness. I mean, there's certainly thought behind it. I don't mean to say that they're just out there swinging wildly, but there's a bit of a offensive recklessness that they both have that makes them so dangerous. I'm not knocking them,
No,
but
no, for sure. They're long, and I would even
yeah.
suggest that Jair might be a little quicker and a little bit more dangerous
And Volk
on the
shut
feet.
him
Yeah,
down.
for sure. Yeah.
Shut him down
Yes.
completely. And I was watching that. I was like, damn, there's no way that you can go from that to like, oh, he's not gonna be able to get past Diego Lopes in such a short period of time. I guess my question to you, because you are such a veteran of the game, like that's what I love having on the show. I love having you on the show because you say shit I won't say, but you also have a perspective that is very rare in MMA because you have been doing it for so long, because you've been a fighter, because you've been a coach, you've been, and obviously one of the best analysts. You have so many perspectives over such a long period of time. Are there things that you see that tell you before the rest of us and I'm not necessarily even talking about Volk. Are there times where you look at a guy? Have you ever looked at a guy and been like, "Ugh, he's done"? And have you seen it before other people?
Yeah. Oh, for 100%, a
Yeah.
100%. So, and I'm wearing the shirt now, Team Brady, right? So, um, I got a little heat for saying what I said about Leon, but those weren't things that I said because of the result of the fight.
Mm.
These were things that we were just this is what I told Brady.
Going into
I,
it.
yeah, going into it. I said,
Yeah.
this is what we can expect because I know the psychology of fighters. I know how they think. I know what they're going through. I've been doing this most of my life and I understand competition. I know what they're going through. I almost can tell when a fighter is done and when they're just fighting for money or they're fighting because they feel like they have to and
They want
think situations
closure.
like that. Yeah, for sure. There's pressure on them to do it because the people, you're great, you still got it. With Volk, I do believe Volk is a true fighter. You know, un and I'm not saying Leon can't fight. That's not what I was saying. I was just saying like, he's a guy, he's very good at what he does, but like he's not going to punch you in the parking lot. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? He might, but like he's not gonna want to, right? He's gonna do it if he has to. Volkanovski's a fighter. Like he's not taking nothing from nobody. He's gonna fight you. He's a competitor. He's a fighter. He likes to be active. Um, my thing with him is that defensively, I think he slowed down a little bit because he when he fought Korean Zombie and when he fought Yair Rodriguez, part of his game was moving forward and getting takedowns. What we've seen from him against, obviously, he probably wasn't trying to get takedowns against Islam
Islam, yeah.
Makhachev, but it just seemed to me like because he fought a decent fight, we gave him more credit than what he really deserved. And he won the fifth round.
Hmm.
He didn't get submitted. He didn't get like taken down like hard. Like he fought better than we all expected. So I think we gave him a little bit more credit. Then when he fought Ilya, he barely moved forward. It was all like cat and mouse,
Yeah,
touch, run.
yeah, he was floating on the outside and kicking a lot. Yeah.
And to me, his defense looked a little suspect, obviously, especially in that Ilya fight. And obviously, the second time he fought Islam, I just don't know if he still has all of the tools put together in the way to operate like he used to.
Yeah. And I have to give you your flowers specifically in something that you just said, because when I went back and rewatched his fight with Ilya, this is what happens on the broadcast sometimes, and you don't always get credit for it because sometimes you might say it a round prior, and that's exactly what happened in this fight. But in round one, you said verbatim, you said Volkanovski needs to be careful because he's retreating with his head up, and he could eat a big overhand right from Ilia Topuria and get put out cold or whatever you said. But that was exactly what you said. And then what happens in round two? But
Yep.
exactly what you said. So for the people who I feel like are gonna watch this video and think, oh, Dean just doesn't like Volk, and Dean, Dean's just being negative and blah blah blah. The reality, guys, is I might even have a different opinion than Dean, but this is why you are so valuable to this show and to MMA as a whole, because your perspective is so much broader than so many people's, and I take what you have to say to heart. I don't think we'll know until the end of the fight, but that's why your perspective is so valuable, because you see things over a broader span of time than a lot of us fans who have been here for, I don't know. I've been here a while, but some of the other fans haven't.
Yeah, for sure. And it drives sometimes like I don't get offended by it, but it makes me laugh when like new fans come in and they think that I'm just like hating on fighters. It's not that. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I've given so much to this sport that I feel like fighters owe me good performances.
I love
And
that.
when I don't get it, I talk about them.
Yeah.
When I don't get a good performance from a guy that I'm expecting a good performance from, like if I know you're capable of giving me a good performance and you don't give it to me,
Yeah.
I'm mad at you because I know you're capable of more. So, like if Volk goes out there and lays an egg, I'll be a little upset with him and I'm gonna have to say it.
Well, here's the interesting thing though, right? Because, this all comes down to if he has lost a step, how big of a step has he lost? And is it psychological or is it physical? I would say, if anything, and that's a big if there has been a step lost, to me, it's purely physical and it's
Yeah,
reaction time and it's
for sure.
age,
100%. It's
right?
reaction time.
It's
It's
reaction time.
it's like when you see how quick he was against the Korean zombie, like I can't he wasn't that quick with Ilya. Like he
Yeah.
like because Ilya was just stalked him and he wasn't that quick with Ilya. So it's definitely a reaction time issue. Now the good news is for him, he's fighting an opponent that is really predictable and doesn't really fight takedowns that well. So stylistically and tactically, this is a really good matchup
I
for him.
know.
It's
I
a really
know.
good matchup for him tactically.
I
He can't mess up.
He can't mess up, and the danger that the danger that Diego Lopes poses in so many different phases of the game. He's not a lights out wrestler, but he is a fantastic submission artist. The way that he will chain his submissions together, super, super dangerous. He's not necessarily a guy who's going to work from high control positions and necessarily do a ton of damage ground and pound wise. Like he's kind of the opposite of Sean Brady. He's fast, he's scrambly, and he's going to be looking to chain submissions together. It's a different version of grappling, but incredibly dangerous. On the feet, he's got tremendous power. You go back and watch him, his ability to operate in the pocket and throw combinations in the pocket and kind of live in that, what I call the kitchen, the fire, whatever you want to say, and hang out there and be confident hanging out there, ripping combinations. That's where I worry about Volkanovski because that again is like reaction timing, especially in those pocket exchanges, and that's where he's just so incredibly dangerous. But if this is a fight that Volkanovski can control the distance and stay on the outside and be a high level operator, and at the right moment get on top of Diego, although there's dangers there, I think Volkanovski does have the ability to be that smothering, controlling force like he was against Yair Rodriguez. Lopez better grappler than Rodriguez. I'm not saying that's the exact same thing, but Volkanovski has an incredibly good top game.
He does. He's got a great top game, and he's got a good enough top game to understand the positions. He
Mhm.
may not be as dynamic or as offensively sound as a guy like Diego Lopez, but he understands the game. He's going to know how to neutralize him. He's going to know how to control his hips. He's going to know how to control the grips. He's going to probably try to operate a lot out of half guard and shut him down a bit. But he's got to just stay out of the pocket, right? Like that's the key. Just stay out of the pocket and control that range, move in and out. But he's got to have some forward movement. Like it can't all be touch and back up, touch and back up. I think he's got to shoot takedowns. And I think in order for Volk to
Mhm.
win, I think he has to wrestle.
I agree.
I feel as though that has to be a major part of his game. And also the good news for him is that a guy like Diego Lopez he's so aggressive and he's so offensive is that he will wear himself out
Hmm.
trying to hurt you and trying to finish you. Like he has no filter of when to slow down. And that'll work against him and against a guy like Volk because
Yes,
he's not going to stop.
exactly. And we got to keep in mind this is Diego Lopez's first 5 round fight in the UFC, and he's going against a guy who I should have counted up, but probably his last 10 fights have been 5 round fights in the UFC. I mean, this man lives and breathes. Who wouldn't know a 3 round fight if it smacked him in the face? So Volkanovski has the fight management of a 5 rounder down, like no problem. He knows exactly how to when to peak and when to taper within the rounds, more broadly in the fight itself. That's an entire art that I think is probably, you tell me, probably
No,
difficult
no.
get difficult to teach someone unless they have experienced it.
Yeah, and that's the great myth of fighting is it fans, a lot of fighters, coaches, gyms think, oh, it's a 5 round fight. We have to do more.
More.
It's not more. It's managing what you're doing for a longer period of time. It's not doing it more. It's the only thing that has to be more is your focus has to be a little longer. That's about it. But it's not like you got to get beat up more in practice. You have to just be able to manage it better. And that's the big misillusion of training. That we
Hmm.
think, oh, it's a 5 round fight. Now I gotta train for I gotta do more rounds. It's not necessarily doing more rounds. It's learning how to manage those rounds. Like when you think of the great managers of that, like I think of like Kamaru Usman. Like there's probably no one in MMA who's been able to manage 5 round fights
Hmm.
quite like Kamaru Usman. Like he's really good at just going, I'm just going to chill right here and then just pick you apart until it's time to fire. And that's really what it is. It's not going balls to the wall for 3 rounds and then all right, it's two more, gotta go more
Yeah.
balls to the wall.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's it's not running a marathon at a mile pace.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand.
Yeah. And in doing my homework and watching the last couple of fights of Diego back, obviously, I mean, there's so much great stuff to talk about. But the couple of, I'm always looking for holes, as well as obviously the things that someone did well. But a couple of times in both his last couple of fights, the broadcasters brought it to light as well. I don't know that it was necessarily a huge factor, but both fights, they pointed out, oh, he's starting to he's starting to gas a little bit. And those were 3 rounders. And
Well,
I just wonder if you can, I mean, you can talk about it with your team, like, okay, we're going to take rounds 1, 2, and 3, this is exactly how we're going to manage, like talking about it's one thing. Doing it is completely different.
so Laura, what I want you to do, fans out there, what I want you to do is I want you to watch Diego Lopes throw punches. When he throws punches, he carries a lot of tension
Mm-hmm.
in his shoulders and in his back. There's a lot of tension in the way he throws punches. Like he's squeezing his fists really tight. And that's tension. It's unnecessary tension, actually. Now, it does allow him to, when he
Hit
makes
hard.
contact, he hits really hard,
Yeah.
but he could hit that hard with just a little bit better cleaning up the technique of of that punch. But that tension won't go away unless you intentionally eliminate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's something he's interested in doing. So, and if he were to change his style, he won't be who he is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's not. So some people, like to me, I put Hamzat Chimaev in the same category. Like these guys
Mm.
are really good 3 round fighters. We haven't seen Hamzat in a 5 round war. I don't think he's capable of it. I don't think Diego is going to be capable of a 5 round war the way he operates because of his tension. I think in 3 rounds, he beats a lot of guys. I'm just not sure he's a 5 round guy.
That's a fascinating point you make, and a really, really good one. I think you even said it in when they went to you during one of those fights. You pointed it out then as well. But you're right. Like not that I ever got good at this, but when you're taught proper striking technique, the tension only happens right at the point of contact. And certainly not, you can't swing that way forever. You just can't. It does make for some hard shots, but like you say, the entire his even the way he holds his guard.
I mean, think of it, and maybe some fans out there play golf, but think of like hitting a golf ball being tense. Like it's not
Mhm.
going to, it doesn't work the same. Like you have to swing it fast, but it's all about the flexibility, the relaxation, the angle in which you hit it. Like all
Yeah.
those things matter, and not squeezing our muscles. And we started. I don't know why we started doing that, but I think it just comes from a place of ignorance. People going, oh, it's fighting. You have to be strong, so let's get really strong. And in order to be strong, you got to squeeze your muscles. But that's actually counterintuitive to good punching technique.
How good is his ground game though?
His ground game is excellent. I appreciate his ground game, especially off of his back, more than any other bottom player in MMA today right now. Actually, I love how aggressive he is. I love how he's constantly looking for submissions. I love how it is his bottom game is a takedown defense in itself.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I love the hell out of it. Like I said, he's got my favorite bottom game in all of MMA right now currently. I just don't know if Volk is the guy to
Yeah.
use it against.
I wish that they would put you in charge of counting submission attempts because I'm about to read his stats and I feel like it's a little low. Because even in the Movsar Evloev fight, there was like a calf slicer that no one pointed out. There was I want to say he was almost going for an Aoki lock at one point. It does become incredibly difficult as an announcer or whoever's tracking these stats to especially when you're doing leg locks, keep
Right,
track
right,
of
right.
everything that's happening because some of the stuff is so subtle. But like his bottom game, his leg lock game, nasty. And that knee bar against Movsar Evloev, I don't know how he didn't tap to that. That was tight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's chaining his stuff together. He's always active. He's very flexible.
Yeah.
Top notch ground game.
Yeah. All right, let me rattle off some stats here for you. I feel like I should do these earlier in the show, but we just get to talking. And then I'm like, oh, I should probably do these. Their UFC records specifically, Alexander Volkanovski 13-3 with 5 knockouts, 8 decisions. Diego Lopes 5-1 with 2 knockouts, 1 submission, and 2 decisions. Uh, Alexander Volkanovski 5-6, Diego Lopes 5-11. Their reach very similar. Volkanovski 71.5, Diego Lopes 72.5. So Volkanovski very long arms compared to his height. Volkanovski 36, to Diego Lopes is 30 years old. And then we look at some of the striking numbers. The accuracy for both these guys, very high. 56.5% for Volkanovski, 53.9% for Diego Lopes. The UFC average, I always like to remind people, is just 42%. So they're extraordinarily high, actually. Strikes landed per minute, 6.16 for Volk, 4.66 for Diego Lopes. Defense for Volk, 58.2%, 52 point. Like they're both, honestly, you go down through their numbers, they're both pretty dang similar in many respects. Takedown accuracy, 38% for Volk, 40% for Diego, so really close there. Takedown defense, 70% for Volk, 61.5% for Diego. And then obviously the big difference is in the submission attempts per 15 minutes, 0.18 for Volk and 2.42 for Lopes. I mean, that's pretty obvious. I don't think that's overly illuminating. We could probably figure that out. Volkanovski has had 6 knockdowns. He's been knocked down 3 times. To Diego Lopes's 3 knockdowns, been knocked down 0 times. Obviously, Lopes has a lot fewer fights. You know what's crazy, Dean? Diego Lopes has been in the UFC, let me get this straight. Yeah, less than 2 years. It'll be
Some-
2 years in May.
and sometimes it just works out for people.
And he lost on the Contender Series.
Sometimes it just works out for people.
He
Who beat
was,
him on the Contender Series? I forgot about that.
yeah, I have to look it up, but he
Yeah,
lost on the,
right now, some dude is
yeah,
going to be at the bar going, "Yo,
definitely
I
gonna
beat
beat
that
that
guy in the
guy.
Contender Series. I didn't even get a shot."
100%. I would be that guy at the bar, be like, see that guy fighting the UFC title? I beat him. I
Yeah,
beat the brakes off him. And he did. Uh, it's just amazing to see. That's honestly, he's an example. Ever since that happened, when guys lose in the Contender Series, and it just breaks my heart. A lot of times I'll just message him and be like, bro, like, keep your head up because there's a list of guys that lost and made it back and had great careers. So, don't give up.
yeah. I mean, he definitely is one of my favorite guys. Like I said, I couldn't put 2 better guys in this spot. Like
Yeah.
these guys. I mean, think about this. They've already said they wanted to fight Movsar next.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just think about
Yeah.
that for a second. But Mopsa, I think, got from rumors has it's got other
Rumor has
plans,
it.
which is I'm like, oh my God, I'm
Oh,
excited about
shit.
this one. The plans that they got for Mopsar. But
Yes.
just the fact, can I tell you, I think the featherweight division right now is my favorite division in the
I
UFC.
love it. It's a
Um,
great one.
yeah, with the new additions that they got between Pitbull and then
Yes.
Pico, and
Yes.
then like Aljamain jumping up, and then even on the back end when you got guys like Hyder Amil and 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 Nate Nathaniel Wood,
Hmm.
it's my favorite division right now.
It's a great division. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic division. Yeah, if you don't know the rumor that we're insinuating, go Google it. I'm not gonna say it here, but just go look up what Movsar Evloev might be up to next. Did you know that Diego Lopes comes from a family of black belts? Does that surprise you? He has an uncle who is a coral belt.
I am not surprised. It makes me feel really old though when I see these guys. They're like, "Yeah, my father's a black belt, and my father trained." I'm like, "Dude,"
I know, I
it
know.
makes me feel really old. Just hearing that these guys, everybody's family comes from,
Are
or
you
they know people like that.
are you on track to get your coral belt?
I don't know. You know, the thing with me is a couple of years ago, I got my 4th stripe, and then I lose count, and then I have to go back and
Yeah.
count the years, and then call Ricardo Laborio and be like, "Hey, man, it's that time again to get another stripe." So I don't know. Like I kind of lost track of it just because for me, the work is the most important thing for me.
I know that. I know that,
The
but
work is, yeah,
it's a pretty special club to be in, and it's pretty rare that someone have that many years. Uh, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'll
yeah,
call him for you.
yeah. I gotta figure this out how I want to continue to
Yeah.
get my degrees,
Yeah,
my education. But for me, the education is the actual
for
lab
sure.
work. That's what I focus on.
For sure. I have a few more questions for you, before we get into like strategies and thoughts on like how you think the fight's going to play out, I have a really impossible question that I thought of that I thought would be interesting to get your take on. And here's the impossible question. Um, do you think the Ilia fight would have been different if Volk had never gone up to lightweight? If the Islam fights had never taken place in a world where that never even happened, does the Ilia fight go differently?
Maybe so, and not from a physical standpoint, maybe from a more of a psychological standpoint. I think what happened with Volk in those fights is that he got a little comfortable. Like going up got him a little comfortable thinking, dude, I just took the pound for pound guy in the world and almost beat him. And then I fought him again on 10 days' notice, and
Mm,
he caught me with a lucky kick.
yeah,
So
but I'm still,
psychologically in his head, I think Volk was still kind of feeling himself going into the Ilya fight, thinking,
yeah,
this is a, you know what I'm saying? I'm going back down
featherweight.
and this is my division. This is my
Yeah,
division. I own this division.
yeah,
And and not that he underestimated Ilya, but I think he was just feeling himself a little bit to the
yeah.
point where, he allowed himself to get a little too comfortable in that
And
fight.
that, what you just said there, is why I think that this fight is, I think that he's going to be able to turn back time a little bit. Will it be enough is the question. But I think that he is going to come into this one because I agree with you. Certainly not taking him lightly, but the comfort of like this is featherweight. I'm the king, right? Like
Yeah.
who has beat me? It's 5 title defenses, right? I am, he's for sure either number 1 or number 2 in the history of the featherweight division. And that doesn't change regardless of what happens on Saturday. It doesn't change. That's already happened. That's already written, that's written down somewhere. Uh, I think that I think though that probably opened his eyes to what happens to everybody. And with a year to rest and renew, I think we're going to see a very dangerous Volkanovski. I think we will.
Yeah, I think so too. And I go back and forth prior to the show talking to you. I was thinking, Diego's gonna beat him. Um, but now after talking to you, I'm going back to my original pick of Volk. But who
Yeah.
knows? By Saturday night, when you go around doing your
The
little
quick hits, it'll be different.
quick hits, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be like, "Yo, Diego got this one, yo."
In the bag.
Yeah, I because I can always almost justify any win or loss
Well,
in my head. Yeah.
that's what makes us good analysts. Thank you. I almost used the wrong word.
Yeah.
That's what makes us good analysts. I think is my ability to I can make a case for about anything,
Yeah.
especially in this sport. So it does become really difficult to feel firmly about something. But I lean. I know I don't usually do picks on this, but I lean toward Volk. I think Diego's incredible. I think he's so dangerous. If he walks out of there, I will certainly not be surprised one little bit. But I just have this feeling that like the greatness of Alexander Volkanovski has one more or 2 more or a few more goes in him.
Well, it also what makes it so difficult is that we're trying to predict a moment on one night.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this really difficult. Is it you could right now, based on what I've seen of Diego Lopez, you can't tell me that he's a 5 round fighter.
Hmm.
You can't tell me that. I won't believe it. But that doesn't mean he can't win Saturday.
Yeah.
He still might win. But Volk is a 5 round fighter. You know how I know? Because he's defended
You've
his
seen
belt
it.
5 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's done it a lot. You can't tell me that Diego is a 5 round fighter.
Yeah.
And I won't believe it until I see him do it a few times. And I don't know, based on his style, the way his body moves, his anatomy, I don't believe that he's a 5 round fighter. And if I'm Volk, I'm using that information as a part of my game plan going into this fight.
I love it. Hey, we have a fan submission that we need to get to.
Ooh,
I
my
should have
favorite
teased it
part of the
earlier in
show.
the video. We have a fan submission. Let me make sure I can remember how to do this. All right, so we got a fan submission from our dear friend Kevin. Let's hear what Kevin has to say.
Hey, Dean, Laura, love the show. Always excited to watch the previews before the big pay-per-views, and UFC 314 is going to be no different. However, I am wondering, why is Diego Lopes fighting Alexander Volkanovski in place of Movsar Evloev, who we all saw defeat Diego Lopes? I'm not saying it's the wrong matchup, but I am going to need you to convince me why Diego is in this fight. Thanks. Love the show. Keep it up.
Well, we appreciate you, Kevin, and we love your cat. And we
I was
love
about
the
to say,
fact that you're a
I was gonna
Browns
say,
fan.
don't think we're gonna just let that go. We saw the cat. We saw the black cat in the back. And we gonna mention that. Laura, I'll let you answer that
Well,
first.
first of all, Kevin, we very much appreciate you sending us a submission. And if you guys want to be like Kevin and be in our videos, you can send it to oneononecombatsports@gmail.com. Just send us a quick video of your thoughts, your musings, your questions, whatever you want to say. Really vertical, like Kevin was perfect. My answer to that is it's probably not one you're gonna like, Kevin. Although they have big plans for Movsar, which we probably didn't know at the time of you filming that. Google it up, you'll see. It really has to do with butts in the seats. And we can sit here and say that this is a pure meritocracy all we want. It's mostly meritocracy, but the other 20% is who's going to make for an exciting fight in a pay-per-view title spot. And that's just the reality of it. Movsar is certainly a worthy opponent, and I think his name is one, like Dean said, his name is one that Diego's already thrown out there. If he gets this win, he wants that rematch, he wants that fight back. But for now, it just had to do with the styles, I think. What do you think, Dean?
Yeah, I can't really. There's not really much to add to what you just said. It really
Sorry.
does come down to comes down to numbers, and
Yeah.
um, it's a pay per view in Miami. You gotta have
Yeah.
as much sex to that as possible. Yeah, and woo, yeah, and
Can we
um,
make that the clip that we used for social media? It's like just Dean going, we just gotta have as much sex as possible.
sex. Ooh la la. Yeah, but it's gotta be. You gotta have a sexy card. You
Yep.
gotta have a sexy card, and you gotta have a fun, upbeat, vibrant, sexy card. And
That Latin spice.
yes, and I gotta tell you, um, I think Movsar is a great, stubborn, stingy, greedy fighter.
Hmm.
But nothing about him screams sexy. You know what I'm saying? Not, you just can't put him in. You can't put him in this spot. Unfortunately, you can't because like unless if they were the co-main event to a bigger fight,
Yep.
but this is the main event. Like
Yep.
you gotta have something a little more sexy. And for as much as I make fun of Diego Lopez's haircut, it's grown on me and it's kind of
Speaking
sexy
of
sometimes.
which,
It's for this spot. It's very sexy.
can you sing the emo song
What is the emo
like
song?
Volk did? You don't know the emo meme song?
No,
Oh my God, hold on. I
that
gotta
means you got to do it.
hold on. Let me see if I can.
Oh Lord, what did I do?
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna have to do this. I could probably do it with my hat. Oh, hold on. I gotta get my hair over one eye. That's really the key. Yeah,
Oh
there we go. Did you see Volk sing it to him?
no, I did not. I didn't know there was an emo song.
Yeah. You gotta cover one eye and look
Okay.
like kind of sad about your life and mad at your mom. And you're like, 'cause tonight will be the night that I will fall for you over again. Don't make me change my mind.
Oh my God.
You don't know what song?
Because tonight will be the
Yes,
night I
that one.
fall for you.
Over again.
Oh no. Hey, listen, check this out. Somehow, like when you come and do the quick hits,
Yep.
I'm doing that.
Okay.
I
I
might I
get
might
like a
use
get
your
like a
hair on my
washcloth or a
eye. Yeah.
towel or yeah,
Yeah.
something. A wig, something. For sure.
I'm gonna bring a wig for the quick hits because I gotta sing that song. That's brilliant.
Absolutely. We would love that very much. Dean, we always appreciate your time. We appreciate you guys listening. Again, if you want to be a part of these videos, we want to hear your thoughts. We want to see your face. We want to learn your names. We appreciate you guys being a part of our audience. So please send your submissions to oneononecombatsports@gmail.com. We appreciate your subscription. We appreciate your likes and we appreciate your time. Check out the other videos on the channel. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next time.